get kind, get action. Today. Get it away. Yeah. Today. Today. Something. Today. Get it.
I am drinking a gas station beer. It is Montucky Cold Snacks. It's a lager. Apparently, it is it's the unofficial beer of Montana. So,
oh wow,
yes,
I'm drinking a Colt 45, Britton. I'm drinking a Colt 45. Okay, so anyways, our last episode kind of took off, so I think we're going to stick around Reddit. Apparently, people liked how funny we were. Got some interesting comments that I have up here. I do want to just point out, we got an interesting comment from Ice Cream Kitty Cone. It says, you guys should do a guest video with Haunted Cosmos. Have we brought that up prior?
It doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to look them up. You know, we're always looking to collaborate with folks, you know, build up our fan base. But we did get an interesting one that says, day one of asking Cleet to marry me.
Someone's going for a married man. Risque.
I've always thought that, Britain's always gotten some of the love just in the comments sections. But apparently, like, now that I'm thinking about it, like, the 2 paid subscribers kind of just reference me, you know? We just have people talking about how nice your voice is. Oh, Britain, I just come in to listen to your voice.
I mean,
Voice.
it is a podcast. It's purely audio, so that happens. People listen to both of our voices. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because Cleat Feet, someone likes your feet. Soylent Cleat, which is like a throwback to the day, which makes me think that someone someone has to know something.
By far my favorite, man. Bill
Which
Clinton.
one?
Bill Clinton.
Oh, Bill Cleaton.
Dude, I
Bill Cleaton
loved
is
it.
good.
Bring back Bill Clinton, man.
Anyways, so today we'll be doing a Reddit thread, which is something that I think everyone can relate to, which is, what was the scariest we need to leave now gut feeling that you ever experienced? Now, Britton, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt that need to leave?
I can't think off the top of my head. I know I've had them before. I'm trying to think of, I don't know. I don't feel like I have that exciting of a life where I've been in a situation where it's like, oh, we need to leave. And then like Final Destination shit happens. And then, I don't know.
I bet, like, I could maybe, like, give you an example where you could think of something. It's like that time where you had a feeling that you should stop doing something, and then, like, you had to pay the consequences because you stayed. Might not be, like, as, like, crazy, like, oh, my God, like, end of the world shit, but, like, and it could be, like, part of a bias humans have, because a lot of the times, like, in the back of your mind, you're like, you might be saying, like, should I really be doing this? And the moment, like, something really bad happens, you, like, associate it to that. Should have listened to my gut. My gut told me to get out of there. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it happens quite often. I just don't have a particular instance. But yeah, I don't know. I always think that it's a good idea to listen to that voice in your head, like just that little voice that's like, maybe think about this a little bit more.
What if your voice tells you to burn things, Britton? I mean, I think you need to be a little bit careful with your thoughts there.
Maybe the thing needs to be burned. Some people just want to watch the world burn, Cleet. So it's a thing. So,
Listen to the
fire's
voice.
warm.
Listen to the voice. This one is a worm vessel, surfing a fairly secluded reef break, offshore across a channel. This place is in a very southern state of Australia.
I think I've mentioned this before. I hate deep ocean stuff, so surfing probably wouldn't jive with me. I already know where this is going, and I'm not a fan.
Overcast weather, but a still amazing day for the waves. I was surfing with only one other guy. We were trading waves and getting to know each other between sets. I asked what he did for a living, and he was a marine biologist. We'd both recently moved to the area, and we were new to surfing it as well. Despite it being extremely good surf, after 40 minutes he says, I don't like this. Something feels off. I feel like I'm being watched, like I'm bait. How do Australian people say no, Britton?
No. I feel like I'm being watched. No. We got to get out of here.
The surf is really getting high. I don't like this.
It's just no, man.
Just say no normally.
No, we've got to get out.
I didn't
Get out of the water.
I didn't want to leave, as it was an excellent surf. But this guy was a marine biologist, so I took his instinct and as a sign to play it safe. We paddled back across the deep channel together as quickly as we could without panicking and walked the 15 trek back to the car park, telling shit the whole way. I got his mobile number for future surfs together given how small the town it is here and not knowing anyone. We noticed a 15-foot inflatable boat pull up near the reef and hang out for a bit without much thought. Later that night, while looking at my social media, I read about 3 fishermen at the same location we were at this morning. At the same time, in their boat, as they pulled up to check their clay pots on the beach side of the reef, they were circled twice by great white sharks that were as big as their boat.
Nope.
Nope. I don't like being part of the what was the chain called?
The food chain.
I had a shop before this, so yeah, I don't want to be part of the food chain. That guy most likely saved me from a horrible experience that day. I messaged him with that link to the Facebook page with the comments regarding their experience. Chills ran through my body for a good 20 minutes. He was adamant he felt the presence of something. He was right. Yeah, that's crazy.
No.
You know,
like it.
They do talk about, like, there's, like, this sense in people, particularly when, like, someone is, like, staring at you, that,
It's called the sixth sense.
right, and they think it comes back from, like, evolution when, like, there's a predator while you're up in the trees, like, stalking you, that you could almost, like, sense it to a degree.
Yeah. It's just survival instinct, you know. It's the thing that keeps you alive. Call it the sixth sense. You can see dead people.
The seventh sense.
All right. This one comes from Rough Salamander 7069.
Ah, yeah.
Viewing to see a flat that didn't exist. It's not my story, but one my mum told me from her 20s when she was living and working in London, UK. I'm going to do my best to retell it. So back in her 20s, my mom was living in London and looking to move into a slightly bigger place. She'd found a really good price for a flat slightly out from the area she was hoping for. She'd called the agent to book a viewing, and that's when things turned a little odd. So the guy booking the viewing started asking really weird requests and questions, such as to bring her passport, her age, her race, and physical appearance. Would she be coming on her own? Did she have a car, or would she be getting the bus? He was very persistent that she should arrive by bus, as it would be easiest for her. Explains it was a straight road down from the bus stop to the apartment block. Obviously quite unnerved by this call, but still interested because the flat looked ideal, she and my dad, who were dating at the time, decided to check the exterior and surrounding area. The day before the viewing, they drove there, first passing the bus stop that he was indicating for her to arrive by. From the bus stop, there was about 150 to 200 meters of derelict wasteland that she would have to walk past to get to the flat. And standing at the end of the street in the location this apartment block should have been was a huge abandoned building. Smashed broken windows, graffiti, no entry signs, the lot. Definitely nothing inhabitable in sight. Sounds like a quaint little area. Still, when she tells this today, you can see how much it rightly shook her. Of course, she didn't go to her viewing. However, she informed the police, advising them of the planned time and place. From what she saw, from following up with them, they didn't appear to take this tip seriously, and very little was done about it. A couple years later, though, while in a pub with some friends, she gets chatting to a guy she just met through mutual friends that night. He was in the police, and through a conversation, her story came up. He said that the area at the time of her viewing had a huge human trafficking problem. Still gives me chills.
Damn, that's scary, dude. Human trafficking's a real thing. This one is from Satan's Wife 13. When I was about 8 in 1985, an old El Camino pulled up alongside my friend and I with a man saying he knew my mom. He did know her name, but something felt off. So I grabbed my friend and ran. What's the password? Did you have one of those growing up? Like a password, like if your parents were like in trouble, they had to know this for you to like know that they were okay.
No, I was just smart enough not to get around people I didn't know. I don't recall having a password, no.
Yeah, I guess maybe that was like a scare in the 1990s to 2000s. My mom gave us a password. Like if anyone like pulls over, says like, "Hey, we need to take you home. There's an emergency." Like they had to say a password. I can't remember what it was. I think it had to do with Mary Poppins. It might have been Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. Take me home, Mary Poppins.
When we were told, my mom, she went white and called the cops. Turns out this guy thought my mom had stolen his job at the steel mill she worked at the time and wanted to hurt her. He already had a warrant out for nearly killing his wife that morning. When I was 16, my mom had a terrible feeling about an outing some friends and I were going on. Hindsight being 2020, it was a stupid move for me to go anyway, but I did. Long story short, there was a car accident, my two best friends died, and I nearly did. It'll be 30 years in November. I still regret getting in that car every day. My friends might still be alive if I hadn't. My mom had that mama spidey sense. She still does. More recently, I was at our other house in the country with my oldest son and his wife and kids. There was a break in the storms, and my son decided to go home instead of spending the night. I was filled with dread at the thought of them going home so late, since we were still dealing with intermittent but severe storms. So much dread that I started crying and begging them not to leave. Thankfully, they agreed. We all started home that morning, with them following me and my husband. We came up on the stretch of road that we know has no lights at night to see police barricading a washed-out bridge and cranes retrieving cars. We all piled out of our cars to ask officers what happened. Apparently, there were several cars that had kept going, not knowing the bridge was out. The lone survivor in the first car had told police that they went off the bridge at about 9:30 p.m. That's about the same time my son wanted to leave. My husband just looked at me, and my boy hugged me extra tight because he knew what could have happened. Damn.
That's insane, man. This one comes from God Bullseye. After graduating undergrad, I was working as a caseworker for individuals with developmental disabilities and got assigned a new case for a young man who had autism and severe behavioral concerns. I met him at his grandmother's house since she had custody of him since his parents weren't around. I think his mom was in prison. Met this young man who was probably about 6 foot, weighed around 250 pounds, but had the developmental capacity of a 5-year-old child with a hairpin trigger temper. The house he was living in was absolutely destroyed, with the other piece of furniture that was not smashed up but was an oversized beanbag chair in the living room. Grandma gave up trying to send the kid to school since he would absolutely destroy the place if he was forced to go. Grandma was no peach, but I felt for her and I wanted to help. One of the meetings I was having with them, the kid and Grandma seemed especially tense, like pacing around the room and smacking the walls. After about an hour of trying to get stuff done and realizing that it was not going to happen on this trip, I decided to call it since the kid was becoming more and more agitated. Grandma was annoyed I would have to come back again, but we scheduled for a week or so out and left my business card with a reminder for the appointment. I leave to go back to my home state for a few days, and when I get back, I get called into my supervisor's office. I guess the night I left, the kid had a complete breakdown and beat his grandmother to death. Holy shit. No one noticed until the kid came wandering outside after a day or two covered in blood. I probably missed everything by less than 3 hours. Jesus Christ.
That's sad, dude.
What do you even do in that situation, man?
All right, this one is from Silver City MTL. Years ago, when I was still living at home with my parents, I drove home around 2 a.m. I parked my car and noticed a man walking down the street. I decided to wait until he passed my car and was far enough for me to get out. However, instead he passed my car and hid behind the van that was directly parked behind me. I guess he did not think I was paying attention to him, so I called my dad, who was asleep, to come down and get me. He did, and when the guy saw my dad, he immediately ran away. I was lucky. And someone responds, Kinvara Cernith, reminds me of a night I was closing up at work in high school. I worked at a pool hall till midnight, 1 a.m.-ish on weekends. One winter night, I locked up and went to my car, which was parked next to the front door, started it, and then got out and scraped ice off the windows. As I was getting close to done, a guy walked around the side of the building on the same side of the car as I was, passenger side. It was late and dark, and I don't normally see anyone, so I decided I was done scraping and walked around to the driver's side and got in and locked the door. I locked the door just as the guy passed the driver's side rear bumper. He then slowed a little, and the second guy came around the corner from the same direction. He waited for guy 2, and then they walked off together. Spooked me right out.
All right, this next story comes from Lavender Acid. Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, don't do that.
Me and my little sister went camping in the woods very close to our house when we were kids. We'd seen this bald guy with a blue shirt and a dog walking around, which isn't unusual for the area. Lots of bald people. Just kidding. You'll often...
There's a lot of bald people in my neighborhood. I don't know why. Must be genetics.
I don't know, no one here has hair. We can't figure it out.
It's like a bald cult.
We call it Chrome Dome City. You'll often see people walking around and saying hello. For some reason, though, I just got this tight feeling in my chest, and my sister must have too, because we both just gave each other this look. I don't know what it was that made me do it. This is very out of character for me, but I took a photo of the back of him as he was walking away. She's like, oh, take a picture of the guy's head. Look how fucking bald it is. A while later, we see the same guy again near the lake. He comes over.
A shine came into my perf for you. It reflected the sun. Okay, I'm done.
The picture was unusable, but because his head was just so shiny. He comes over and asks about the tent that we're carrying, where we'll be setting up, and are we camping with our dad? We say yes. We're just going to see him now. Obviously a lie. We must have had the same moment of psychicness because we walked off up a fork in the path until we were out of view, then looked at each other and jumped down a path hidden by the bushes and waited behind them on the parallel trail for a bit. The guy watched us walk off, pretended to play with his dog until he couldn't see us, then turned around and ran up the path after us. Jesus. He just starts sprinting. Like, that's a good boy. Just starts pounding down the
Get him, Yeller. Get him.
Thankfully, he didn't see us hidden and carried on straight where he thought we'd gone. We decided that camping was a bad idea. Then we went home. It's like, you know what? I actually don't think I want to camp anymore.
Yeah.
I think I want to go home.
Yeah. Let's get away from the baldies.
That evening, my mom shows us a post in the local residents group, which is a picture of the same bald guy trying to break into someone's house. Apparently, he'd just been walking around trying people's front doors and claimed to be a repair guy when he was stopped. I dread to fucking think what his intentions were, but it was very lucky me and my sister knew those woods so well. Otherwise, we wouldn't have thought to go down one of the hidden paths. I mean, how do you know it's the same guy? There's a lot of bald people, I guess.
Dude, that story is pretty fucking crazy. That's nuts, dude. Like, going back to the Predator story, like, the guy was a predator. It was like their hidden instinct, as it were.
Yeah, it's crazy that, like, their intuition proved right, and they just jumped out of the bushes. Like, can you imagine? Like, they're just like, oh, yeah, it's just a normal guy. Normal interaction, and then that's it.
One is from Chalky Quinn. I was around 10 or 11 years old and had been invited to a sleepover. My mom didn't really like me going to those because I usually end up staying up way too late and then being cranky the whole next day. You know what? I can fucking relate. Like, come on, man. Right. When she dropped me off, she told me her usual send-off. Just remember, if you want to leave, I'll come and get you. It doesn't matter what time it is. Just call me.
Make good choices, honey.
The sleepover party itself was the usual routine. We watched a movie, gossiped, prank called some boys. Huh, Britton? I like that. What? This being before cell phones and caller ID.
You saying I prank call boys? Is that what that was about? What does that even mean?
That's what you're into, man. I don't know.
No, what does that even mean? You like
Elaborate.
that, Britain?
Elaborate.
Boys.
Fucking
I
elaborate.
need elaboration, you weirdo. What do you mean?
So we broke out the Ouija board, etc.
Yeah.
Turned out that the girl hosting the sleepover had an older brother, high school aged, who also had some friends over. I remember they stood in the doorway of the rec room where we were, and something about them made my blood run cold.
I mean, if you think about it, a Ouija board is just prank calling spirits. It's like, let's stop prank calling people and let's just bust out and start fucking with dead people.
Calling them names. Let's start calling them names.
Hello, is anyone here? Is any dead person here? Haha, we're still alive.
Anyways, this girl sees these boys, and she just thinks, I remember thinking, I'm going to go home. I went upstairs and I asked to use the phone, saying I wasn't feeling well and needed to go home. Her mom at first told me no, and then berated me for being a baby.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Parenting 101. Just berate your children.
Quit being a baby. But I just kept saying that I needed to call my mom, and I still remembered the feeling I had that I needed to leave. Finally, I was allowed to use the phone. My mom came to get me, and we swung by Dairy Queen on the way home. My mom was always cool like that, and I still remember the huge feeling of relief I had when she pulled up and I hopped into the car. Years later, I found out that the brother and or his friends had molested some of the girls at the sleepover while they slept.
Jeez.
No one reported it at the time, and I think it actually took years for any of the girls to compare notes and find out that they weren't the only one that this happened to. Feel bad that happened to them, but I was still glad that I listened to my gut and got the hell out of there.
All right, this one comes from Miss Rothmar. Back in 2019, me, my husband, and 2 girls aged 6 and 9 were on a road trip in the South. We had booked an apartment in Atlanta through Airbnb without knowing the neighborhood at all. It was bad, really sketchy, with a lot of creepy-looking people hanging around. We went into the apartment, and immediately my 6-year-old said, "I don't like it here." The door didn't lock properly. The beds were dirty. There was rotting food in the fridge, and the bathroom had not been cleaned in ages. My husband called the owner, who was furious and refused to give us a refund. To de-escalate the situation, my husband offered not to leave a negative review if we could just get our money back. The owner agreed, but asked us to wait for him so they could talk it out in person. As soon as he hung up, I told my husband that we needed to leave right now. We hurried to the car, and as we pulled out of the parking garage, we saw the owner driving up with 4 friends. He didn't see us, and we bolted out of there. Ended up at a hotel on the 14th floor. Didn't even feel safe at street level. Jesus Christ, man.
I don't know, man. The groundskeeper, he had no teeth. Kept asking how our trip was going.
That's true.
Viewers, if you're listening, give us like a place to go that's haunted in the next 6 months. For real. Okay, this one is from Adler221. I was 12 at the time, and my favorite thing in the world was spending the night at my grandma's house. We lived in the sticks at the time, and my grandma lived closer to the nearest town. Thursday night was my grandma's night. I felt something was off one Thursday night and asked my mom if I could just stay home with my mom and dad. They reluctantly agreed and went home, watched some TV, and went to bed. My bedroom was on the adjoining wall of the living room. I wasn't really asleep, but I heard my mom keep saying my dad's name over and over again, with a hint of panic. I sneak out to the living room, and my dad is on the couch with his head tilted back, snoring really loud, which wasn't uncommon, but my mom was beside him, shaking him and telling him to wake up. She yelled at me to go back to bed. I didn't, obviously. I snuck to their bedroom to call 911. I told the dispatcher that my dad was asleep and my mom was trying to wake him up, but she couldn't. Eventually, the phone call went to the living room, and my mom talked to the dispatcher. They sent an ambulance to the middle of nowhere. My dad had taken a bottle of diazepam to try to commit unaliving. I remember sitting on the floor and holding his hand and repeating over and over that I loved him. The ambulance came and took him to the hospital, lights and sirens the whole way. We didn't know what happened during the time, but we found out a day later or so, and that is when the world changed. I'm very sure if I did not call 911 that night that my dad would have succeeded, and it would have probably have drove my mom over the edge as well. And I have no idea what I did, and I have no idea why I didn't want to stay that night at my nanny's. I just had that feeling that I needed to go home. Man.
Shit, dude.
Well, let's go to a better one, Britton. How pick a nice story, a little pick-me-up.
Let's do a pick-me-up. This one comes from John and Porter. I stopped by a friend's house to watch a ball game. Oh, this starts pretty well. He, his wife, and I were just relaxing, and someone knocked on the door. It was the middle of the afternoon, so he opened it up. He was expecting others might come by also. I hear him greeting somebody. The guy was his brother that I had never met, but had only heard about. Very sketchy-looking guy. Meth teeth, scrawny, long, greasy hair, My friend had told me that he had a brother who lived in the area who had a serious drug problem. Buddy is talking to his brother about nothing, and the guy gets a call on his cell. Whoever called, all he told them was, "Not yet. I'll call you later."
I hate it when I get those, man.
Seems pretty obvious that this guy has come to rob and most likely take out the witnesses. I look at my buddy. Seems he has come to the same conclusion. Now, my buddy's wife is a no-nonsense type of woman. Sweet, but athletic. On the tall side. She had left the room to go to the bathroom. Or, so she said. She comes back in the room with a handgun. I'm thinking, what the fuck did I walk into? But she calmly says, "Ron, you're strung out and you came here with bad intentions. You need to quietly leave. If you get any ideas, Chris, their son, is sitting outside in his truck to make sure you go." Ron doesn't say a word. He just turns and goes out the door. We can hear his old pickup drive away rapidly. Chris comes in and says, "He's gone. I don't think he's coming back."
He gone.
They ask me to leave so that they can decide what to do. They'd already called the police, who are well acquainted with Ron. The next morning, my buddy calls me. The police said they found his brother in the trailer park where he lived, murdered with multiple gunshots. They're guessing he was in a serious drug debt and had come to rob his brother. I told my buddy I was sorry. He said, don't be." Jesus Christ.
All right, this one is from Nicole. I bartended years ago, and I kicked a guy out because he was acting strange, muttering under his breath that he would kill my other customers. Just really hostile.
Wow. I'm going to kill your customers.
I'm going to kill him. He had missing fingers on one hand, and he was kind of a bigger guy. After bar closed, I was almost finished counting money. So like an hour after everyone left, I was just about to leave, and I had that gut feeling. I looked out the window, and that guy was standing on the corner watching me in a ski mask. I know it was him because of the build. As soon as I grabbed my phone, he took off, but the cops know who he is. Now, he has a vendetta out against me, and he's a well-known around town. He's fucking nuts. Yeah. Dude, that's fucked, man. Like, he's like made an enemy for life.
This comes from Winter Commercial 400. When we were in our teens, my sister and I were walking our dog in our local forest area, very close to our childhood home. We were about to leave and had just clipped our dog back up, when a lady appeared out of nowhere and just started chatting to us. She was odd. She told us that her dog would love some socialization with our dog and could we go back with her for just 5 minutes. What I hadn't clocked, but my sister had, was that her dog was nowhere to be seen. He just didn't realize that she just didn't fucking have a dog. He's like, I missed the point.
Wait,
what dog are you talking about?
have a dog.
He realized there's no dog in sight. The lady was almost rounding us up to head back toward the forest when, little did I know, my sister had spotted a van out at the corner of her eye. I was still oblivious at this point. Suddenly, my sister screams, "Dad!" And to our luck, my dad had finished work and was now out on a run. He starts waving and running toward us, and as we turn back around, the lady had simply vanished. She just scuttled back off into the fucking forest. My sister looks back over at the van and sees the lady closing the passenger door and is speeding off. Dog still nowhere to be seen. She didn't have a fucking dog. I believe we were minutes away from abduction. It was divine intervention that my dad happened to be at the right place at the right time. Go, Dad.
A friend called me and said, "There's a wildfire 8 miles away. Can you help me move my horses?" So I drove down. She was wrong. It was 8 miles by car. We got to the first set of horses out and down to another farm. The second set I'm working on, and suddenly things get quiet. It is as if the world stopped for a minute. I look at the horse, and the horse looks like it's ready to run. I take a deep breath, and suddenly the noise comes back. The wind is hot as fuck, and the light changes. I told Sherry, the girl I'm helping, "We gotta get out now. No time to shove the horses in the trailer. They are smart enough to survive." And I let them loose. We run to the truck, and the barn is already on fire. Then we get into the truck and notice a fire past us and is blocking the road. So we jump out and ran to a small pond for the horses, and we dive in, hoping the fire doesn't burn us. It was about 20 minutes of hell. I might have been longer, I don't know. It was insanely scary, hot and loud. We got rescued by the fire department, water-dropping helicopter. It landed in the field and pulled us in. We got lucky. The truck was burned to flames, and the horse Sherry let go died. The one I let go survived, but was burned. That's most likely the scariest moment of my life.
This comes from Willowed Wisp.
It
Doesn't I need to go home now feeling count? And it wasn't me, but my mom. Anyway, I was around 12 or so, and my mom left to run an errand, leaving me alone. Very soon after she left, the doorbell rang. This was weird because we lived on a hill with only 2 neighbors. We all kept to ourselves, and we just didn't get random visitors. Thanks to some conveniently placed picture frames, I could see out the door without being seen. I look out and I see a young man that I don't recognize. He's dressed in a t-shirt and jeans, and something just feels off. So I ignore him, and I wait for him to leave. But he doesn't. He lingers and starts to smoke. Again, this is an isolated hill. I'm completely alone, and now I'm getting scared. I go and hide and plan to wait for my mom, except she just left. Had a few errands to run, and I couldn't reach the phone without the guy seeing me. As I'm trying to figure out what to do, my mom comes home. She runs in and asks if I'm okay. Apparently she got this random go home now urge. She hadn't even run her first errand yet, but turned around immediately, found the guy in our yard and asked what he needed. I guess he muttered something about looking for someone or something to that effect, and my mom told him that he needed to leave. Apparently he was acting very erratic and made my mom nervous. To this day, I have no idea what he wanted and no idea how my mom knew to come home, but I am very grateful that she did. Those motherly instincts, man, I'm telling you, there's something else.
All right, this one is from Deleted. When I was a little boy back in the early 70s, we lived on a small hobby farm in central New Jersey. One night, there was a huge storm with thunder and lightning. We were gathered in my family room when there was the loudest crack I'd ever heard in my short life, accompanied by a blinding flash of light. The power didn't go out, but the light bulb and the floor lamp next to the chair where my father had been sitting moments before had exploded into hundreds of tiny shards. There was an acrid smell of an electrical fire, but it wasn't coming from the lamp. I asked my father, "Is the house on fire?" "Yes," he bellowed back at me. I started running for the door, but he grabbed my arm and yelled, "Don't move." I was terrified, and in my 5-year-old mind thought I was about to perish with my parents in a conflagration we could easily have run out of. I became hysterical. My dad released his hold on me, but my mom grabbed me as again tried to run to the door. "I said stay put," my dad shouted. I started sobbing that we were all going to die and yelled something back to my dad that he was going to kill us all. He didn't take it well. What I didn't understand at the time, and not until many years later, was that the house was clad in aluminum siding. My dad was an electrical engineer and understood that if the house had sustained a direct lightning strike, it would have become a huge capacitor that would have discharged tens of thousands of volts through any watery, ion-filled human that contacted both the house and the wet ground just outside the door. As it turned out, the hit wasn't direct. Lightning had struck the huge maple at the back of the paddock, about 200 feet from the house. I went out the next day with my mom to explore and still remember seeing the remnants of the exploded tree scattered across the entire paddock. The fragments were bone white, bleached by the sap having been boiled out of instant of the lightning strike. And the burning smell inside, there was an electrical shaper my grandma had given my father the previous Christmas. It was charging above the bathroom sink, and of course there was no such thing as a GFCI outlet. At least nobody had then, back around 1972.
All right, folks, that is going to wrap us up for this evening. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to our paid supporters of the show: Soylent, Cleat Feet, Laura, Mothman, Conklin Family, and Lou. Your paid support of the show is tremendously helpful, and if you yourself would like to join these amazing folks, there's a link below and several tiers to choose from, as well as a link that will take you to our one-time beer donation for the show.
Beer, 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 beer. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe, as it really helps us get us out there. And as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.